Fragmentize for Christopher, huge.
Yeah, so maybe we won't see them. But oftentimes drawing and discarding out of this deck is just drawing a card.
There's so much that just discarding it is beneficial. The Voldaren Pariah has Madness. There's things like that, Fiery Temper, and then things like Scrap Heap Scrounger, Prized Amalgam Haunted deck that just play out of the graveyard.
So Shrout plays Crypt Breaker and Scrap Heap Scrounger for Chris Johnson. He plays a Reflector Mage to put the Crypt Breaker back into Andrew's hand.
Very tempo positive play against a card like Crypt Breaker, which has takes some time to get going.
Scrap Heap Scrounger will attack, and the first damage in goes Shrout's way. It is Chris down to 17. Not wanting to trade anything with a card that doesn't really die. And Shrout just has to pass the turn here. A lot of big hitters in hand. He has Haunted Dead and Chandra, Torch of Defiance.
Looks like he has Chandra and Fiery Temper, and his mana base is Swamp, Smoldering Marsh. So he can't cast either of those without being able to trigger the Madness on the Temper. The Chandra would have been quite good if he were able to cast it on that turn.
So he had to pass, and we get to Chris. On his turn, Chris just plays Gisela the Broken Blade, the 4/3 lifelink. Figures to be excellent against a black-red deck, and Shrout has no play except for recasting the Crypt Breaker. This is not working out his way.
He has to be able to set up a Fiery Temper to be able to get that off the table. Something you always wonder about when you see Gisela, is there a Bruna hanging out? There is a Bruna in Chris's sideboard, likely to be in the deck here. It's just excellent in this matchup. Important card for red decks when that's happening. Does he have any Incendiary Flows? None in Shrout's deck.
And is it going to matter anymore? Chris takes advantage of the fact that Shrout is missing plays Gideon, makes an emblem, attacks for 8, an important 5 points of lifelink, and a 4th point of toughness on Gisela.
Basic Mountain here would be able to enable Chandra killing Gisela. That would be huge.
It is a land. Does it come into play tapped or untapped?
Is it a Ruins or a Marsh?
If it's a Ruins, that's that's no good. A Marsh could do it. It is Foreboding Ruins. That one comes into play tapped, as he does not have another land to show.
Foreboding indeed.
And if he lets, he's going to swing the Scrounger, put Chris Johnson down to 19. The issue here is that Chris Johnson has a Selfless Spirit in hand too. So once we get to that point, that Shrout could try to kill it with Chandra. If there's a Selfless Spirit in play, that's just not going to work.
Yeah, it's all going to be over at that point.
Well, I suppose a Voldaren Pariah could still do some work.
He has to get Pariah and one more creature, and Christopher has to not be able to stop any of that from happening. The Crypt Breaker will get him a 3rd creature here.
Yeah, maybe if he discards a Haunted Dead, untaps, gets it back, Madnesses Pariah into play, maybe we can see something, maybe we see Sparks fly.
Yeah.
A swing again from Chris Johnson. This is for 8 more damage. Crypt Breaker can discard Fiery Temper here, but that doesn't do anything. They all have 4 toughness now. Crypt Breaker, we'll see. What does he discard? He will discard the Fiery Temper, Madnessing it for single red at the Reflector Mage. Yeah, that is a 3/4 Reflector Mage. He makes a zombie. And yeah, before it blocks, Chris is going to Stasis Snare away the zombie.
Yeah.
So
wanted to be able to temper the mage down to 1 toughness, block with a zombie. Aggressive use of a Stasis Snare, but it just takes one more hit from the Angel to end this game.
Shrout down to 2. I mean, there is some good here that happened for Andrew Shrout. It means that Chris did not get to play the Selfless Spirit.
I think that Shrout picked up on License Disintegration.
Great. Yeah, he has Disintegration, Chandra, Torch of Defiance, 2 copies of Haunted Dead. He's got the removal. Now, can he cast it in time? That's another question. He'll play Chandra. She goes to 1, dealing 4 damage to the Gisela. Scrap Heap Scrounger swings. Chris goes to 21. Shrout is tapped out with just a Crypt Breaker left to chump block. If Chris Johnson has a removal spell, that will be the game.
Reflector Mage, Declaration in Stone, Stasis Snare, these are all live here.
Doesn't have one. He swings and Shrout chump blocks. So Black-Red Zombie's still alive, and Johnson will just pass the turn. We both know what card that means he has. Can Shrout beat it is a whole nother question.
He's able to produce chump blockers for the Reflector Mage, and he has the Unlicensed Disintegration.
Chandra can make mana. He can cast Haunted Dead. And then we go from there.
So he needs 7 mana to Haunted Dead and Disintegration.
Swings a Scrounger. Chris Johnson down to 18. Keep in mind that Christopher has Selfless Spirit and Avacyn in hand. If that flip happens, the game's over.
Yep. Lethal trigger there. Shrout was really hoping that Christopher would get trigger happy and cast the Avacyn in combat, so he could just disintegrate it there and then figure out the rest of his turn. Things not quite so easy. He's red for Avacyn, but he still has to be worried about Spell Queller with how he plays his turn out and other effects like that.
Yeah, he knows about the Avacyn most likely here. Chandra's going to plus, exile a card. It's a land. Can't play that, so Chris is going to take damage. Here's Haunted Dead, and this should be game. The Avacyn and Selfless Spirit should do it.
Well, if he goes for Avacyn's Selfless Spirit, he needs to have a counter for Unlicensed Disintegration in response to the flip trigger.
He's got another Avacyn.
Well, that'll do it.
So here's Unstep Avacyn. I guess he would need 7
he doesn't have
mana.
mana. Yeah. He can't do that all in one turn cycle here. So he really just needs to have an answer for the Spirit token or just not get too aggressive with that Selfless Spirit here.
There are ways for him to screw this one up, but swings both creatures. Shrout blocks them both. Smuggler's Copter from Christopher Johnson and Selfless Spirit. All right.
Uh-oh.
And he sacrifices it. Okay. He got too aggressive with it. So now upkeep that triggers on the stack. I mean, Shrout just has to disintegrate it. It's not complicated. This was too aggressive by Christopher. It's not a good play. It will likely not cost him the match.
Shrout still has a lot of work to do from here.
But he draws the Archangel down, Christopher to 13. Scrounger swings. Shrout's got him to 10. He is playing to the narrowest of outs here. And if this works, what a game that is.
So Christopher, we know he has the Avacyn. So if he produces a creature, he can crew the Copter and attack with the Reflector Mage and the Copter. That's already lethal. So Shrout needs to find a way to survive 2 potential attacking creatures.
Chandra make mana, play this other Haunted Dead, shrug. Please have nothing again.
That might be the best line.
Yeah, I don't like it. There are ways this could go wrong.
Yeah. Looks to be what he's considering here.
He has a Haunted Dead in the graveyard, 3 cards in hand, 2 mana up. That's possible also.
Yeah, it just makes 1 blocker, though.
2 mana, Haunted Dead, 2 blockers. Okay, go. Please don't have anything. That's the line from Shrout. Land and Avacyn look to be the cards in Chris Johnson's hand, which means he does not have the lethal yet.
And notably, Shrout would just be chump blocking if Christopher attacked with both creatures here, if he crewed the Copter with the Avacyn.
Sure.
Also, the
if
Shrout would be able to use the Chandra to kill the Avacyn.
Exactly, yeah. Andrew Shrout, you may make a game out of this just yet. I don't know how this is happening, but we're still playing.
The way that Christopher plays this matters a ton here.
All right, he's going to go for the aggressive line. This is, wait, that's not Avacyn. That's Bruna.
Oh, that is much better. That's going to be impossible
okay.
for Shrout
So
to
this is
beat.
our first actual casting of it. When you cast Bruna, you may return target angel or human creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Gosh. Okay, so he gets back an Avacyn here?
No.
Oh, wait. Oh, no. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. This is great. Okay.
You wanted to see it.
Now we're going to... Let's get the other one on screen. Okay, so Bruna is going to bring Gisela out of the graveyard. And then the Eldrazi are going to fuse these angels together. Yeah, this is what it becomes. Brisela, voice of nightmares. This is the beginning of your end step that's going to happen. So, okay. Yeah, this is great. So he needs one of the angels to crew Smuggler's Copter. I didn't know if he, okay. This is great.
Shrout has one potential top deck.
Oh wait, he can still win from here. Hold on.
He can still Voldarin Pariah with Haunted Dead.
Well, he's got to block both. Oh, you're right. If he draws, it's just that's all it takes, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And then end step, we fuse into the giant voice of nightmares, the 9/10. Yeah, because Shrout can't cast anything anymore.
Right. He can still activate Haunted Dead,
gosh.
since even though it only costs 3 mana to Madness in the Pariah, he can still cast it because it's a 5 mana spell.
Okay, does he do it for Hold on Pride? That'd be so good.
Doesn't look like it. And the Chandra doesn't actually draw cards, so he can't get that into a zone where he could Madness it. And he doesn't have enough creatures to cast it and make it matter.
Yeah, he would need 7 mana to cast Pariah and... Yeah, the voice of nightmares looming huge on the table. I don't think he has... That's the only card in his deck, I guess, that even costs enough mana.
Yeah, it's Pariah or bust.
Could cast another Haunted Dead, I suppose. That would block 2 things.
Yeah, it would take a 3rd creature to crew the copter and be lethal on the following turn.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
Maybe he doesn't have it.
Does this giant monster thing trample? It probably does, right?
I don't need, what are all its abilities? It's like a 9/10 with a bunch. First,
Okay, it doesn't trample.
Huh?
It doesn't trample.
Lifelink's great. That's okay. Chandra will kill Reflector Mage, so it's just 1 creature. This means that Shrout can bring back Haunted Dead and Chump Block. All right. And then if he draws Pariah next turn, he's still good.
All right. Got a plan.
Yeah. That's. Can't see how this is going to go wrong. Here's Selfless Spirit. That will crew Smuggler's Copter, and that will be enough. So, what a fight by Andrew Shrout. Let me just first throw that out there. That was...
Yeah, he navigated the game the best he could.
He made Christopher have the Brazella combo.
Shy of having summary dismissal,